Seasons don't respect people, they only come to do their work. All we need to do is to understand seasons and adjust seasons.
Think of it.
The truth is, if you violate seasons, it doesn't matter who you are, you will become a victim in that season. In our last video about firstborn, I did say that the will of God is that every firstborn will align with light and become the expression of light. But unfortunately, many firstborns align with darkness. And this is what darkness does. Darkness doesn't kill directly, but darkness can frustrate. Darkness can, make you walk about without accomplishing anything. Darkness will make you stumble. Darkness will make you afraid. Darkness will make you feel insecure. So, one major battle that every firstborn fights is with darkness, whatever that means. And that is the reason the only way to send that darkness away is to be in alignment with God, because God is light, and there is no darkness in him. Every firstborn, one of the keys that changes things is the firstborn ought to align with light, align with God. Yeah, I know you're going to say, but there are firstborns who don't even know God. There are firstborns in China, firstborns in Russia, firstborns who are idol worshippers and all that, who don't care about God. What are you talking about alignment with God? Well, that's as far as it goes. God's will is that the firstborn will come into alignment with God. You might just see what is happening to people outside, but you don't really know anybody. You don't really know anybody. Somebody can rise to become the president of a nation. Does that mean the person has reached his destiny? What if Moses had become a pharaoh in Egypt? Yeah, everybody says, there was a pharaoh known as Moses. But the point is, did he really reach the destiny in God? Did he really, come into what God ordained for him? That's it. That's what's important. Jesus did not leave anything here. It's not a house he built. It's not the children he gave birth. It's not the wife he married. It's not whatever, there's nothing that you can say. But you see, he fulfilled his purpose. He fulfilled his purpose. He did that which, God brought him here. He said, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. That's what he said. I must do the work of him that sent me. For night comes when no man can walk. He said in John chapter 6, verse 38, I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. So you can look at somebody say, well, he doesn't have money. What did he accomplish? He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Because we're measuring success and measuring people's value by, the things that we see and can touch. So somebody can say, I know a firstborn who became a president, or I know a firstborn who became an astronaut and this and that. So we think that because they achieved, that means that they actually received all that God wanted. That's not it. That's not how it works out. So it is the will of God that every firstborn must align with light. If a firstborn does not align with light, because the firstborn of God is light, and the will of God is that whatever opens the womb, he told Moses, he said, whatever opens the womb, whether of man or whatever is mine. God has a claim on every firstborn, whether they know it or they don't know it. God said, whatever opens the womb is mine. It was not just talking to Israel. God is first, and the first belongs to him. So there is a claim. God has a claim over every firstborn, and that's why it's important that the firstborn to reach, to fulfill his purpose and reach destiny, the firstborn must align with light. It is an error for a firstborn to align with darkness, because God did not say, let there be darkness on the first day. He said, let there be light. And so, but the kingdom of darkness will fight the firstborn. And that's why it looks like many firstborns are groping in the dark. You can't tell what the problem is. See, he has a job, he has this, but what's going on is a battle. The kingdom of darkness. How God says the firstborn is mine. What do you think the devil is going to say? I'm going to snatch him from you. It's not going to happen. Because the firstborn is like an institution. So the devil want to snatch that every firstborn, wages this war, whether they know it or they do not know it. But that's the will of God. So one of the first things that a firstborn needs to do is to align with God, align with the truth, align with righteousness, align with godliness, and become an expression of light. Do not become a liar. Do not become, don't get involved with fraud and all that, because you are supposed to be an expression of light, and light reveals things. Life is transparent. So that's the strength of the firstborn. When light is not there, it becomes a weakness. So that's one of the things that happens, in the life of a firstborn. And I hope that this, brings some understanding, and you can use it as a firstborn. You know where your strength comes from, and you know what to encourage in a firstborn and all that. The Lord bless you. Amen. And seasons and adjust seasons. The truth is, if you violate seasons, it doesn't matter who you are, you will become a victim in that season.